is like, yeah, we have it ready. Kasha made sure to have it, so if you want to show it, that's fine with me. I don't think he was expecting everyone to love the cat cam as much as they did, though. Because he was kind of, yeah, if we want to, sure, we can put that up. And so he did, and then everyone in chat loved it. And so he came back afterwards and he said something along the lines of, yeah, everyone absolutely loved it, so we can definitely do it again. I don't think he was expecting so much. But alright, no cat cam because ESL don't want us to put cameras in the in-game overlay. Bottom right, it is HeRoMaRinE. Top left, it is SKillous. There's an appropriate hoodie? I mean, what is inappropriate hoodie? If a hoodie is fine because it doesn't have the word dicks across the front of it, then a t-shirt's also fine. As long as it doesn't have the word dicks in front of it, right? Where most people would argue that smart casual wouldn't include any type of hoodie or t-shirt. But again, I don't really care. I mostly... The only time I've ever been really peeved about my coworkers' dress opinions, and when I say dress, I don't mean a dress, I mean dress clothes, is when we get to an event and then there's a discussion around should we have to be in dress clothes for, these days. I hate when they do that to me because I pack, I make sure to have enough blouses basically for however many days the broadcast is. And some of these past years, that's been like 6 broadcast days. So 6 blouses that actually fit me and look nice. In my opinion, is a lot harder than the guys who basically they find a collared shirt and then they pick 6 different colors. Or not even. They pick 6 white shirts and then, or they pick 1 white shirt and then convince everyone that it's a different white shirt every 6 days, right? Like every day for 6 days. Like either way, no one cares about them. So they get away with that, all right? They don't have to put nearly as much effort into it, in my opinion. But regardless, even if there was another guy out there who also brought 6 dress shirts after making sure they look nice and that they're appropriate and blah, 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 and then was told, oh yeah, we didn't need to bring 2 or 3 of these, I would hope that they'd also be kind of frustrated with that. Because it's not a big deal. It just, I hate it when they do it when we get to the event. Tell me before. And then I don't have to pack 3 extra shirts. Which for some reason, it feels like it take up a lot of space. It's like silk material is kind of thick. Anyways, it's a TvP, which actually there's a potential for a lot of action in the first 5 minutes, but so far not too big of a deal. Reaper is getting some excellent scouting done. Phoenix opener here for SKillous, and HeRoMaRinE is going to go into a... Okay, so 1-1-2 gets the factory. Is going to hide it. That's kind of cute. Or attempt to hide it. Certainly going to hide the add-on that's on it. I mean, maybe he wanted to hide that it was a factory at all. And have SKillous worry about a 3-rack potential. That didn't really work out. The Adept got up very close, saw the factory, saw the second barracks as well. You click on it, it's on a starport. So that was still a very, very good scout for SKillous. Who really, I would say, doesn't even need to go for the immediate follow-up Phoenix scout. But why not, right? Because again, he knows that the Phoenix is not going to be used back at home. There's no Wood of Mine drop on its way. So there's that. Basically, SKillous in full control, even, disrupts the Cyclone lock on. And going to take a faster 3rd Nexus. HeRoMaRinE is right now primarily thinking about making sure he doesn't take any damage to the Phoenix. He's going to push much later on. So I watched a COD tournament, the cast were all wearing suits. Yeah, I noticed that too, actually. I don't know why they decided to do that. Because Overwatch League, ooh, did not lose that Phoenix. Overwatch League decided to be the kind of hip people, so it's professional, but it's very modern professional. Very tech industry professional, so mostly stylish, not suit and tie. Yeah, but then Call of Duty League, yeah, they just wear suit and tie, so I don't know what the change-up was. Might have been the casters having input, or... I don't know. But this is a much faster attack than I was giving credit to. HeRoMaRinE just decides to move out. And SKillous is also a bit surprised by that. There is a very obvious downside to this for HeRoMaRinE, which is that if SKillous is at all prepared, then there's no real retreat there for HeRoMaRinE. He gets chased down by Adepts and Phoenix. Fortunately, HeRoMaRinE chooses pretty much the exact right time to leave. If he had been given a false sense of confidence, oh, there's a link to defend, oh, the third Nexus of a shield battery, oh, let's go for it, and he tries to kill the third Nexus, he dies, probably. Like, SKillous gets the Phoenix in his arsenal, then gets like 3 more Adepts as well, and they shade on top of everything, and he dies. He does. So it was a very, very good pullback timing. SKillous is still perfect on his Phoenix control. Yep. Well done there. So this is going to help a lot when it comes to the follow-up push, unless he gets locked on. A scan, I think, would be worth it. No. Okay. I was going to say, Phoenix are pretty fast, so maybe they wouldn't have gotten it. Either way, 2 very, very injured Phoenix with no time to regen their shields. Shield battery does finish up in the nick of time, however, to help out. The 2 Cyclones still alive. It's really quite a nuisance. SKillous has been able to lift them quite a few times, but so far only to block the lock-on, which means they're just going to continue getting lock-ons and threatening, 1 lock-on, 1 kill. Shouldn't happen there. Again, good save. Scan of the natural to see if there's going to be charge lots or Colossus on the way. Scan reveals no 4th gas taken, and a Robo only just now put down, so he's going to know that's charge lots. And I'm a little surprised he's continuing to aggress, but I mean, he has been able to save all of his units while poking and prodding. So, just thinking that he has enough to do this. We'll see if he's correct. Charge lot numbers really are not that intimidating right now. We're gonna need probably 8 more before it becomes foolish for HeRoMaRinE to do what he's doing. We're not there yet. Shield Battery Overcharge is activated. Guardian Shield as well. Tremendous benefits when you're facing mostly a Marine army. But those charge lots still disappeared. Marine control is very, very good, and the Phoenix, they can tango with the Cyclones, they can tango with the tank, they can tango with some of the Medivacs too. They can't really tango with 20 Marines. So this game has been on a knife's edge for a while. HeRoMaRinE, absolutely. From the Terran perspective, you can over-dedicate to a push like this against a Protoss doing what this Protoss is doing. You can, and you can have a really bad time. You get surrounded once, you might just be dead. You miscalculate how many Zealots they have, you might just be dead. Because the punish is so hard. If you really did make a mistake as the Terran, you overestimate your position, the punish from the Protoss with this composition is really, really good. But fortunately, HeRoMaRinE is HeRoMaRinE, right? So he's playing out these situations rather perfectly, pulling away when he should, microing like he should, and taking the threat of Phoenix Zealot, I think, as well as he should too. He knows that it's still kind of a scary position. But there is going to be a time where SKillous has to move on from Charge Lot Phoenix, and that time is now, trying to go into those Colossus. And then that might be an open opportunity for HeRoMaRinE to do some seriously sick damage. If there's any game that oozes culture and maturity that deserves suit wearing, it is Call of Duty. Yes. Bunch of merchandise with cool t-shirts and hoodies. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a thought that crosses every content creator's mind. Still perfect on the Phoenix control, guys. That's really impressive. So many of these Phoenix have almost died. But anyways, I don't really like just slapping a logo or a name on a t-shirt and saying, job well done. I hate that, because I don't want to wear that t-shirt, right? Or a face. Like, I like the things that actually look kind of cool. Nice art on it, or very understated kind of things. And I'm wearing a Star Wars t-shirt currently, but I would say the art is really nice. So it's not like the anime t-shirts where it's just a picture of Goku. All right, attack number 2 into SKillous's natural base. The Marauders on the front line, very close to dying. They're incredibly injured, but not actually dead. And SKillous manages to hold. Good read from both players yet again, I would say. Now SKillous is going to have a decent number of Colossus. So that was kind of scary for SKillous, being on what is still a low-tech army, not covered by Splash, against a real ball of bio, all right? 20 Zealots, unless they get some type of surround, they're going to be kited all damn day by HeRoMaRinE's army, and through Wood of Mines as well, right? So you're going to need to add complexity to the army in the form of Colossus or Disruptors, usually both eventually. So SKillous couldn't have really defended a 4th base if that was his goal, so holding off on that worked out. Now he's going to go up to 5 Colossus, though, and I do think we've been seeing a resurgence of the Mass Colossus. Mass Colossus used to be good in the old days. 4 was still the more typical amount, though, and now 3 is a very typical amount, but 4 used to be a typical amount. You did occasionally have the Protoss bring out the 7 or 8 ones on, like, Daedalus Point or some shit, I don't know. You don't really have that as much anymore. Like, the power of disruptors and the way that the armies move nowadays with very, very good players, I think it's just very different. But if you do go up to 5+ Colossus and nowadays PVT, the Terran does kind of have to readjust the... Hold on here, the fights. Argument kept coming to my brain. Just like a very, very heated argument. Anyways, but it really changes the fight dynamic when you're talking about 3 Colossus versus like 5 or 6. And SKillous is going to add on a 5th. Damn. I do think that if you're going to choose to go for this, then choosing to go for it when you open up with Phoenix is the better idea. That really makes it hard on the Terran. So they're really going to need... you know, they're going to need a lot of pot shots initially. The Viking count has to be impressive. It has to be adding damage before the real fight happens. By real fight, I mean the Colossus beaming down. We think about how a typical Protoss versus Terran army engagement is going to look. It's going to look like this. The Colossus are not necessarily engaged on every single bio unit. Right now, they're shooting a lot of the Marauders, but here comes in a concave. Good dodge from the Disruptors so far. The Zealots disappeared thanks to having basically no upgrades, and the Vikings do conquer the skies, and that was just a bad, bad fight for SKillous. Oh boy, that was terrible. HeRoMaRinE controlled that so damn well. And SKillous, I think, just overestimated his position. He saw kind of the big bully Colossus and thought, let's go for it. But damn, again, the Colossus weren't actually engaged with anything that was good for them. They were hitting Marauders that weren't dying because the medevac count was very high, and they were in a decent kind of spread. You know, they weren't all clumped up. And the Marines were killing all of those Zealots properly protected in the back lines, not being burnt down by the Colossus. So the opposite can happen sometimes, right? Sometimes the Marines accidentally go up against the Colossus, they get burnt to a crisp within 2 shots, and the Marauders are there trying to kite around the Zealots, and it's this weird awkward thing where the Protoss just wins on that type of engagement. But if it looks like that, if it looks like what we saw right there, that's perfect for the Terran. That's absolutely perfect. I don't think SKillous really has a chance in this game. Well, not a chance, but I think he has a chances. HeRoMaRinE is not the type of player to give them away. That's more what I'm going with this. HeRoMaRinE would usually have this game up now, lock and key, but War Prism in the main are already causing more disruption, something that SKillous absolutely needed. And it is doing a decent amount of damage. It's also keeping HeRoMaRinE constantly looking 2 different directions, so he's having to deal with the main base, yes, but then he also has to make sure that SKillous doesn't get the jump on him and suddenly a bunch of disruptors kill his army. So that's what he's been doing this entire time. There's one thing I was going to mention, and I forget what. About the battles. Oh, the upgrades, right? The upgrades are terrible. Maybe if the Zealots had +2 armor, then they wouldn't have died so fast, and that would have given more of a of an engagement, you know, longer engagement, but not so. Now SKillous is catching up on some of these upgrades. Double Forge, probably double Chrono boosting too. Gonna have 3-2 up against 3-2. Actually, they're gonna even out upgrades in about 20, well, more like 40 seconds because that +2 armor is quite behind. And HeRoMaRinE still has that army supply lead. Again, that was a really good fight for HeRoMaRinE. He's going to take another decent fight, too. That is nothing but gateway units. Not so hot. Where are the Disruptors? Where's the Colossus? Where the hell are the Disruptors? There's 6 Disruptors, and they're all in the top right, currently handling what is a 2-drop army. That's not usually where the Disruptors go to. This would be the opposite situation most of the time, but oh no, now there's a huge surround. The Colossus once again killed. The Vikings land, and the Stalkers especially up against Bio. With so many Marauders, still some medevacs healing too. Like, they're just not going to stand a chance. They probably even got EMP and just didn't notice it. And that's going to be it, man. GG. SKillous gave himself a second chance in that game with that War Prism, but that wasn't even... That hardly looked like a second chance. The bottom left of 2,000 atmospheres, we have HeRoMaRinE. Top right, it is SKillous. SKillous might have gotten pretty much bodied in that last game. We can't forget all the good things that happened in that game. The good control over the Phoenix, the wise decision-making on the engagements, pulling back when necessary. I think was pretty big for both sides. And we also can't forget that SKillous did win against HeRoMaRinE in Open Cup. Twice at this point, actually. I think he went through a, like quarterfinal versus HeRoMaRinE and won. And then he also defeated HeRoMaRinE in a finals 2 weeks ago, I believe. So, pretty good. Pretty good. Way different than the two's dynamic even 4 months ago. SKillous has truly ascended. He peaked, but didn't just peak. He just elevated instead. There was no hard drop-off afterwards. Red Marshall 75. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. So he didn't even movie slept the whole time. That's kind of what cats do, you know? They sleep a lot. Cat fur on the microphone makes my day. I gotta have something different than everyone else's Shure SM7B, you know? Oh, I'm so tired. Still have an interview to do afterwards, too. I'm interviewing DJ Wheat, which is very exciting. He's a very, very nice person to talk to, but... Oh, I'm tired of working. I wish hosting wasn't so draining. You know? Because it really isn't doing a lot, but there's a lot of stressful inaction, I guess. You're still kind of paying attention to what's happening, what the commentators are saying, what's happening in the game. You can't, you know, do whatever for whatever amount of time, because you do have to come back before the game ends, but no one knows when exactly that is, right? So it's still really draining, but I wish it wasn't, because it just makes you sound like a baby. You're like, well, I host for 10 hours. Oh yeah, 10 hours, that's tough, man. What do you do when you host? Well, you know, every like 45 minutes to an hour, you get on and you talk for 5 minutes and then you leave. Whoa, super tough. Marine openings. No Reaper. Reaper was so good last game. It lasted forever and it got really good scouting. But nope, changing up this time, opening up with the Reactor Marines and then going into Reactored Hellions. And SKillous's opener here, the Adept... Wait, came after the Stalker then, right? Yeah, it had to have. So the opening with the Stalker was hoping to match up against maybe one Marine. And then a Reaper might have gone across the map, which the Adept hopefully would have handled. And then if you poke the one Marine, and they're waiting for a Reactor to finish, there's not much to combat the Stalker, right? Weirdly enough, I'm actually really surprised that SKillous did this. So SKillous, he must have been expecting the Marines, right? And there's not much that a Stalker and Adept can do. Technically, the Stalker outranges the Marines, yes, I know, guys, but it's just, you know, it's really quite difficult to say it's going to result in a whole lot. But SKillous wanted to play that game, and in doing so, you know, misreads, I guess, the situation, doesn't realize that the Marines were actually headed across the map, or perhaps thought that his Oracle would be better timed or something like that, but that was absolutely not the way I thought this was going to go. I thought SKillous was going to be surprised by the Marines, but I thought he was going to be surprised with his Adept and Stalker basically just standing there with their dick in their hands, you know? You know what I mean? But there is actually a little bit of a push, so it saw the Hellion follow-up, which usually does go with a Widowmine follow-up too. And it was able to kill a couple of SCVs as well. But that was 4 Widowmines in the medevac. One Hellion died, the other one go across the map. Even a tiny distraction can go a long way. But the Phoenix are currently on patrol, so it doesn't seem like the Widowmine drop's gonna do a whole lot of stuff. Well, the probe should be pulled. No. Oh my god! That Hellion just screwed over SKillous. Oh. And you know what's weird about this? Is that it didn't even do that much damage. Huh. Huh. Yo, SKillous was so... He was so screwed, and the Widowmines didn't even hit that well. 8 probes is not that impressive. Alright, there we go, there we go, there we go. Alright, 12's a lot better. Because SKillous really should have gotten bopped. I mean, no pull on it. The way that his Phoenix pulled back, I 100% assumed he saw the medevac. That was so funnily timed. Okay. So now, in total, 18 probes have gone down. That's much better. That's much better. Not that I'm cheering against SKillous. It just, like, he did make a huge mistake. He definitely was not looking. So, in that way, you make a mistake, you deserve the punishment. You know what I mean? Would I rather host or cast for 10 hours? Cast. 100%. Thing is, like, the real de-energizer of anything you do in life is the abrupt pauses, in my opinion, right? It's the waiting with doing absolutely nothing that really sucks. So that's different than a break, to be clear. That's different than a break. Obviously, 10 hours of road work with no breaks, you're gonna die. But it's different when it's just basically there's nothing to do for no reason. You're just waiting around. But again, kind of weirdly stressed out at the same time. Is so energy draining. So the same thing happens when you're in a marathon cast. You know, you're doing a best of 69 cast, something like that. You're doing back-to-back qualifiers. And the thing that really hurts you the most is when there's no lobbies. And you're just sitting there basically still stressed because you know you're gonna need to talk soon or something, but yeah. Definitely cast. We have an SEV pool. 2-base SEV pool against SKillous going for Phoenix Charge Lot. Very much HeRoMaRinE hoping to find SKillous without any splash. That's really the best case scenario for an SEV pool. Definitely no Storm. Storm's the counter to this. Not even any Archons right now, although they're forming. They are forming. But definitely no Colossus. And definitely no Disruptors. So the only splash available are going to be these Archons, but they are incredibly important. They might be the only splash available, but they are good splash to have in this case. But the SCVs, they get locked into a stasis trap. Which is weirdly, it's creating this kind of force field, so it's not even that bad for HeRoMaRinE. Usually it's go, go, go with an SEV pull, but weirdly enough, they're still going to have an impact on this game. They're about to be unlocked out of stasis. 2 Archons still alive are looking for the shots on the SCVs. There they go, but the shield batteries start to get targeted down. 2 medevacs are starting to run out of juice. In fact, they're starting to die. But is it going to be enough? The Marines need to spread you a little bit. Spread, spread. Nope, they don't need to spread at all, actually. The Archons go down, the Zealots get decimated, and the medevac survives as the Phoenix goes down, and this has worked. With 4 shield batteries, 2 Archons, and a stasis trap delaying the push a little bit, I was a little on SKillous' side. But like I had pointed out, weirdly enough, that stasis trap wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst, wasn't the best for like either side. It was weirdly neutral. And at the end of the day, SKillous was caught in a very weird position against a 2-base SCV pool. 2-base SCV pool does not counter what SKillous does, like a hard counter, right? But it definitely counters it to a degree. The Protoss need to pick up on it ASAP and have a lot of preparation, which I thought SKillous had a decent amount. The fact that he was able to fit in a couple of Archons there, I thought would have been what saved his butt, but nope. Nope. Should take up knitting for the downtime. No. We almost put Naruto up against HeRoMaRinE. Now we have the actual players going up against each other. Nice. Hardwire for game number 3. In the top right, it is HeRoMaRinE. Bottom left, SKillous. SKillous not having such a good time right now. HeRoMaRinE has got his number, but I would say the first game was still a beautiful game as far as the tightrope that is walked between two players of their caliber. Pushing and pulling at all the right moments. And eventually one person steps off the tightrope and it's the disaster. Ambulance is called, and it's really sad, but yeah, before that it was quite nice. Second game, I mean, there was the Wood of Mine drop, obviously, that started it, and SKillous maybe would have had 7 extra Zealots, 1 extra Archon, something like that, if he hadn't taken all that probe damage. So that probably would have saved his life against the SCV pool, but that last game was very one-sided. It's really a lot to go over in detail. Would have mind bad. Would have mind very bad. What do you think they should do with StarCraft Sheen to shake it up? Well, you know, it depends on if you're talking about realistic expectations or you have $1 billion. What are you gonna do with it? Well, I don't really expect a lot from Blizzard. But I do think that an update on the game will absolutely bring in more people. As much as I was against the naysayers when Blizzard announced they were no longer updating the game, the doom and gloom, the people who said, I guess that's it, GG, I was very against them. I mean, there's no denying that updates matter for modern esports. And that people will come back and into an older game if they see that something is new. It's just a fact. But, again, that's kind of in the unrealistic expectation zone. So more realistic is what you do to the esport. And I do think that, you know, for instance, the format for the regionals is it's too old, it's too long. The number of people who like it are basically the number of people that are hardcore StarCraft fans, really. And you might think to yourself, oh, I'm not that hardcore, but I watch a lot of it. Well, you're still, you know, you're still hardcore in a lot of comparisons to other people. So we have a very steady 5,000 viewers is basically what we get. 5,000 viewers is pretty much going to watch almost anything that's StarCraft related. But to get up higher, more to 10K, 15K, 20K, I think we need something that's a little livelier. It's a little more important day to day than the group stage, where everyone's tired. The viewers are tired, the players are tired. The players are extremely stressed playing in the current regional format. The fans are tired. They're like, well, what does this really mean? What is this? Did I just watch something that mattered? I guess it didn't. Okay, then. Okay, it's hour number 36 on my StarCraft watching. Maybe I can take a chill pill. It just doesn't feel that impactful. So I absolutely think that the regionals need to be redone. And I think that even going into something as simplistic as a GSL style bracket would be better, actually. And I know that's very much not the case for the players themselves. They'd be vehemently against it, and rightfully so. But if you're going to put all of this production effort to make it look like one of the tier 1 tournaments, then I think you're going to need something that's a little livelier. So really what we've talked about amongst the casters is like a Code A and a Code S. So That would be nice. Probably not gonna happen. They said, and I don't mean to rag on them, but rag I will, I suppose. In 2020, they scrambled us all together in a hurry because of COVID, and we were like, oh yeah, well I think it worked out kind of well actually, like well done, well done. And then second season was okay, and the third season was okay. And then every season, from the beginning, we said, well done. We realized that you guys had to do this all very, very quickly. And that's okay, but you know, I think there's some changes to be made. And they said, yeah, we should get on that. And then the season 2 came in 2020. And they said, well, there's too little time between the seasons to change anything. We said, okay, I guess so. And then season 3 came, and the same excuse came forward. Well, there wasn't any time to change anything, so, you know, that's that. And we're like, well, okay. Well, there's 6 months until the next season, so we'll see what happens there. And then nothing changed. So changing that is also, I guess, in the unrealistic expectations. What has happened in this game? Fortunately, not too much that determines the victor of the game. SKillous goes for a little poke at the front. He is going right into charge after Blink, but with their Colossus as well. So it's not going to be a mass gateway style. But it's not going to be just up to Colossus either. A bit of everything, really. You get the splash, you get the gateway units, but you don't get his upgrades. You don't have a forge with this. Something's got to give. And what this can open up as well, this opener can open up to an attack from SKillous, as HeRoMaRinE has trouble against the faster Colossus. So the first one, the second one, that's going to be used offensively. Get to a third one, SKillous might actually move and aggress onto HeRoMaRinE's third. That is, unless HeRoMaRinE SCV pulls again. And then he doesn't have a third. That makes sense. And here's HeRoMaRinE's first push out. Does SKillous everything he needs back at home? Not quite yet. But he really didn't make that many stalkers to begin with, so that's the only reason he has a low number of stalkers. As long as he's got a shield battery, a Colossus, and a couple of force fields, he is kind of good against the current army. But the trouble is splitting up right now. It's not a lot of units for SKillous to utilize. So this drop into the main is going to be really brutal. In fact, SKillous really making a mistake by not having anything scouting for that. I mean, he has a probe over there. Yeah. Troublesome. Troublesome. SKillous already down 2 maps, and this one is not starting off hot. His upgrades get depowered. His Colossus gets targeted, and that's mostly a Marine drop, so it's not going to actually kill the Colossus this time around. And it looks like the third base is properly protected, but still, not a good time. SKillous gets supply blocked, loses a handful of probes, loses that timing on his charge, loses all of his timing on his robotics bay. He will not have Exanthermal Lance. He will not have a third Colossus. So any counter that possibly could have happened that I was talking about, forget it. It's not happening anymore. HeRoMaRinE's in total control of the game. And even dropping on top of the Colossus now, that is a beautiful drop right there. Colossus dies, and again, you're not replacing them anytime soon. Stalkers soon to die as well. Everything has to be pulled over to the left side. A very injured bio army. Probably just going to pick up and get out, because why not? There's only 2 stalkers. What the hell are you going to do about it? But that means that the third base must be open, right? There wasn't that many units to begin with, and you just saw them all over to the left side. So HeRoMaRinE moves on the right, sieges up the tank. He's got medevacs in case this army also has to skedaddle. And look, he even sees the new technology, which he won't be target firing this time around, but does he really need to? Probably not. Back in the main base we go. Stalker's going to get destroyed by the Marauders that do have their upgrade, and that is that. GG. Pulled apart. It was like SKillous was some pulled pork or something. It was just crumbling.